call to order at 7:05 and Pledge of Allegiance. Please flag in our corner. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for our fallen brethren, including the recent loss of the state trooper. Thank you. Please be seated. Please note under the approval of minutes, we only have two listed, the regular and the July, so we will have to hold the September 2nd, but it should have been listed and provided. So I would entertain a motion for the approval of the regular meeting minutes of June 10th, 2021.
So move.
So Joe, second, Liam. Favor? Any opposed? Special, and now a motion for approval of the special meeting of July 21st, 2020. Okay, Liam is the mover, second.
I'll second it.
Joe, second. Thank you. Chairman's report, we focused mainly. Oh.
All right.
Yes, all in favor.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay. I remember the first time. Thank you, Joe.
Be your personal secretary.
Chairman's report, the focus has not been directly on the strategic plan, but on the equity diversity, which is an abstract. And I'll do the update for that when we get down to it. So I don't have anything else, unless anybody else has a question. Questions? I'm not seeing any. Chief, you're up.
All right, good evening, everyone. First, let me just mention, because I'll forget to say it at the end, Saturday morning at 9 a.m., Fire Department will host the 9/11 Memorial Service at the firehouse. It'll start promptly at 9 o'clock. You can expect that it will run maybe 20-25 minutes at most, and there will be coffee and served in the firehouse, and commission members are most welcome to attend. So I want to bring you up to speed on some important developments regarding our stations. So, as you know, we have a Waterfall budget plan that will fund $250,000 in station renovations each year. And we are in year 2 of that project. Year 1 is bathrooms, and we have completed the design work with the architect. We met with them on Tuesday or Monday of this week and reviewed the architectural drawings ready to go out to bid. We had some changes that we had made. In particular, the asked for a modification of the state building code, specifically the ADA requirements for a handicap bathroom in the men's dormitory at Station 2. Right now, there is no handicap bathroom in any of our facilities other than here. So our approach is to put a ADA compliant bathroom on the first floor at Station 1 and renovate the dormitory bathroom upstairs without ADA facilities, because that's only firefighter use of it. And at Station 2, we're providing a full ADA compliant bathroom and shower facility, in particular with an eye towards female firefighters. Station 1 does have a separate bath and shower for females on the second floor. So at Station 2, the architect felt that he had to submit plans that include the ADA for the men's dormitory bathroom. And we said it'd be for the limited footprint we have, to eliminate that. Appealed to the state approved it, so it's back to the architect for a minor revision, adding a third sink, making 2 equal-sized toilet stalls, and making a deeper shower, which limits the amount of circulation space in front of the shower entry. And that's it. Station 5 will have an ADA compliant bathroom on the day room side, and a full, I think that's ADA compliant as well, in the dormitory side, so the idea is female firefighter shower, ADA compliant bathroom, and men's bathroom and ADA compliant. So we're moving forward with that. The second items are overhead door. Go ahead.
And I'm not saying this just because have any female firefighters, and I know we have to reach.
No. So we
Can
have,
Please get somebody. Sorry, guys, but the perspective is different.
so they were designed by an architect.
No. I made lots of changes to architects' designs in major buildings. Because it was about understanding how the operation, how space for a particular job. And so if we can quickly grab somebody that you know,
Sure. Yeah,
have them look at it, that would, I think, a smart safety check on our part.
Okay. I will do that. So the overhead doors are this year's project. They are out to bid, or will be out to bid shortly. All the information is over to the purchasing department, as well as the next part of that funding package would include station exhaust systems, and we're moving forward on that. So that'll get the full 2 years of funding underway. We have met with the Southport, as you know, we don't own the Southport Fire Station. We had put $3 million in the third year of the funding the Waterfall projection. Not sure that we'd be ready for that, but we wanted to put a placeholder in that, and we could switch a $250,000 project, push the $3 million further out. We did, so the 2 projects that is intended to address is Station 4 and apparatus maintenance. We still haven't resolved a solution for apparatus maintenance. We still, are working around that issue. But Station 4, we've met with Southport Volunteer Fire Department, and they have engaged an architect that they've used before, and submitted a plan to bump out the back of the facility to increase the first floor space for the Fairfield Fire Department. Southport volunteers to maintain the second floor, and we think that we are 90% of the way there on a design. I requested to meet with Tom Bremer to start that process because there are lease issues for the town. If we're going to spend $1.5 million on a building that we don't own, what protection do we provide for the town to make sure that we will get our money's worth. And certainly the volunteers are aware of that. So we're moving that forward, and if we think that we can complete or start that project next year, we'll include that in our Waterfall request going forward. If not, we will move up another project. At the same time, there's $500,000 in the First Selectmen's Recovery Act funding. The town get $25 million, and we included 2 years of projects for that, and met with some internal staff to look at some design. We need to renovate some space on the first floor, get stuff off the apparatus floor. Right now, there's turnout gear on the apparatus floor, which interferes with aisle space. There is no storage facility except for the basement in the building. So we need storage facility. We need to get a pool maintenance off of the apparatus floor, clean up the apparatus floor, and renovate the kitchen. The entire second floor of the building needs to be renovated and made far more useful to the operation, public visitation, plans review, additional staff that we are expecting in January. So those are the projects that we would include in the ARPA money, and we continue to fine tune some of those issues. That those funds have to get approved by the board of select. Actually, the whole process it goes that route. So that's where we are on buildings and grounds.
Chief?
Yep.
I'm gonna pause you.
Yep.
I just got a quick question. The last one that you were describing, that's station 1 or station 2?
Station 1.
Okay.
So the only thing
Jumping
we're
from station
doing,
4 to station 1, and I got confused.
the only thing we're doing at station 2 is bathrooms right now. So we've done the kitchen, we're doing the bathrooms. Future development will be renovating the dormitory next, probably a lower end cost. But yeah, so right now, the focus going forward is station 1 and station 4, but it's already.
So Chief, another observation which may already be, just because we didn't talk about it, I want to be sure that given our investment in Southport, that should potentially change distribution of seeds if they sell it, they go to sell it.
Yeah, and I've made some notes to discuss with the town attorney when we get to that point, and how to insulate, if there is a sale, that we recoup our investment, those types of things.
Sure.
And I don't know if our $1.5 million we get it back if they sell it 50 years from now makes sense, but certainly we need to.
On the other hand, if they sell it and our $1.5 million to gain on what they sold the building for prior to that, then should share some of the gain, not
Right.
just get.
So that's buildings, apparatus. I think that probably the deputy has a better read on some of the apparatus. We are, other than the capital purchase that is now at Pierce for a new pumper. Our general, issues with apparatus maintenance continue to go on. So I don't think we have anything more about that. Budget, we're working on this year's budget, and obviously we're starting to think about anticipating, the budget in 2020, or fiscal year 23. Capital projects I've reviewed, other smaller capital projects, SCBA replacement that's in our capital, $130,000 budget, vehicle replacement and others forward. And I don't know, is there a donation?
For any donations, as
No,
far as I
I didn't see it.
I saw a thank you letter,
Yeah.
but the last page back of it is a thank you letter. Dave Shea.
Yep.
I didn't see anything else.
So the deputy may talk about, I just want to just speak briefly about the remnants of Tropical Storm Ida. The fire department, well, we geared up pretty heavily for Henri. The reports were this was going to be devastating. It was going to make landfall potentially in Milford. We opened up the EOC, we opened up the shelter. We sat around the EOC until 2:30 on Sunday afternoon and enjoyed each other's company. Police, fire, first select woman, and then we all went home. Ida comes along, and it was a inland flooding event. Supposed to start at 8 o'clock, be over by midnight. Heavy rains, urban flooding, and we geared up, but we should have geared up a little bit more, given the amount of work that was needed. 30 cars were stranded in deep water. Rescues were made from the cars in chest deep water. Our guys and the cops worked their tails off. The last storm of this magnitude was September of 18, when 7 inches of rain fell, and the Rooster River overflowed its banks and flooded neighborhoods. That was a 500-year storm. This storm was a little bit less than that, but still well above a 100-year storm. And the concern is when 100-year, 500-year storms are happening every 3 or 4 years, we need to certainly at our end is rethink how we staff, what equipment we need, and how we organize our response so that we are addressing those urgent needs. We continue to work on that, refining our plans for an emergency. But it is a big deal, and I don't know, Rob, did you have a lot of water?
Oh, yeah.
Down in your street, I would imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
down in the dip right there, My girls actually, it's fun. I went to bed that night not thinking it was gonna be as bad at all. We were more scared, like, for Henry, Sunday before. And my watch had woken me up at 4:30 for emergency flash flooding. And I was like, what is going on? And at 5, I got out of bed and looked in my backyard, yeah. My daughters were sliding down our playground head first. It's like 2 feet of water.
Water slide.
Yeah, exactly right. They loved it. Well, my wife was, I had to leave because I was scared I wasn't going to be able to leave if I waited any longer. So I went to work. But yeah, wife wasn't too thrilled about this.
Yeah, and we look at the triple threat of hurricanes as coastal flooding, power and trees, and inland flooding. And this single threat, because we didn't have any of the others, no power outages to speak of, and no coastal flooding. This was a really hard job. So I do want to tell you that it's a separate subject, so if you had a question about that.
And we have questions.
Okay, yeah.
You gotta stop every once in a while.
Yes, Chief, on apparatus. Are you, are we, the town, back in scheduling and where we wanted to be? Because a few years back, we sort of came off this whole cycle of apparatus purchasing and fell behind, and then we're trying to play catch up.
We're right on schedule.
So we're on schedule again.
Yes, absolutely.
Very good.
Very good.
We're,
I think thanks to the town, because they have cooperated with our apparatus replacement plan, which is, been laid out for them, and they've been helping us follow that.
Right, because I remember a few years back, the plan fell by the wayside. Apparatus was not getting ordered, and then all of a sudden we had to play catch up, and mechanics were doing the best they could to keep older things going, and it was costing more money to do that. So we're back on our schedule.
Yep.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
The last thing that I wanted to mention is,
You got a second?
oh, I'm sorry.
Questions, commissioners? Don, you good?
Fine.
Everybody? Okay. Good. Okay. Hey, you good.
So we continue to work with UI for the update of our dashboard proposal. For 2 years ago in July of 19, we had a fatal on Park Avenue and East Ias, and it posed a lot of the challenges that we have with getting good information, actionable information from UI, as well as the customers getting that directly. We spent an inordinate amount of time tracking down outages and trying to get updates. So we developed a proposal to UI. UI has jumped on it. They've hired a outside consultant. They are working on that. They gave us a dry run through the dashboard capabilities. And as promised, it will get us down to individual homes and their projected restoration. Projected restoration doesn't get posted until 48 hours after the first sunrise following the storm. So it could be, 72 hours from the time that the storm actually started. But we are getting information, and they took all of our suggestions and will continue to work and refine them. So we're very happy that this may be the game changer that we were hoping that it would be in order for us to make better decisions. We know that a big swath of town is going to be 4 days without power we'll open up a shelter. But if we don't know, I mean, it's hard to make those decisions. We will provide services based on what we learn from the information we're getting from UI. And that information just gets better and better as we go along. And what we found is after the 19 events, they've been far more receptive to working with us as a partner as opposed to us just battling back and forth and making statements about them publicly. We've been very successful in this partnership and we'll continue to pursue that.
Actually, I think I got two questions. One is, how many, make safe units are they? What, 2 now? Right. And the other follow.
100% improvement over what they were
It is.
providing.
It is, actually.
But even more important than that, they were giving us one crew and it could only be used for priority one closures, meaning that only it was for dead-ended streets, that there was no other way to get in, which is completely inefficient because First Street could be a priority for us because you think of the detour that it would take to go around it. So we made that case. They said, listen, here's your 2 crews, use them the way you think it's best.
That was my second
And
question.
3 days in, if you've got 90% of the roads reopened, we're gonna ask for one back. And we have already worked through that in real time during storms, and they have been, it's worked. It has worked much better. And Jeff Minder, the tree warden, manages their crews with our crews, and it is light years away from some of the real challenges we have.
Yeah, that was my follow-up question. Do we get to pick and choose the roads now?
Okay,
Okay,
that's it.
Deputy Chief?
Good evening. So, in the realm of operations, the department had a few fires during the since we met. On Risley off the South Pine, we had a fire in a garage that was attached. Very quick notice, it was noticed by the homeowner, which added to a very quick response, and we were able to knock it down before it damaged either smoke or fire into the house. Cherney Road structure fire, 2 garages were going in the rear of the building. Severe exposure to the houses, but we were able to get on scene very quickly. Both garages, if you take a look at the videos, they were fully involved in a very serious situation, which another quick response, people said that they were able to go back to the house that night. On Wakeman the other day, we had a power service line burning on the house. Another quick response, and we were able to knock that down. As we mentioned, tropical storm Ida, there were numerous assistance calls of many different rescues, as mentioned. There were also a lot of hazmat calls. What happens with the floods are that anything from oil tanks in the basement start becoming buoyant, so they break free, and so you'll have potential hazmat situations with that. We had a propane tank which took off in New York, 120 gallon propane tank, with a large propane tank, landed, took off into the yard. We were able to secure that. A shed, we saw sheds in different places. Gas cans in garages and basements, they float and then they tip over, so that made another hazmat, that made hazmat issues in many cases. The chief mentioned our rescues. A lot of those rescues were people in vehicles where the water was up to their windows. And once again, the foresight that we had a couple of years ago to purchase a surplus Army truck, put that into service, was able to go through basically anything, and any type of water, and very successful. We were able to go right up to the vehicles as opposed to sending somebody in the water and somebody getting hurt or killed. So that was as the chief mentioned, the new pumper, we able to check to Firematic, so everything is going smoothly with that, and it's just a matter of, how long did they say, chief?
400 days.
400 days, so That's what they're promising, and so, thank you. But, we'd also like to acknowledge the difficult work that is being performed, the great work that's being performed in a difficult situation. We've had a lot of problems with rigs that recently, not because of anything other than just usage or whatever, and some bad coincidences, but engine 2 is sitting, waiting to be repaired because we're waiting for a part. Parts, our mechanic is having trouble getting parts, and this is something that benched this apparatus, and it's our newest engine currently, and it's just sitting in quarters and can't be used. So things like that are frustrating. So the mechanics are trying to keep with Band-Aids and duct tape, trying to keep the rest of our fleet moving and doing yeoman work. In the personnel realm, our former Bridgeport firefighter who we hired is performing local training this week down here and in the firehouses. I think tomorrow he'll be doing bailout training outside if anybody wants to watch. And he'll start on C shift next week after this local training. We're getting good reports so far from our 4 firefighters up in the academy, and we look forward to their success. In the emergency management realm, as the chief mentioned, we've had VOC activations for Henry and Ida. We've had shelter activation, albeit for a few hours for the storm. Norma will probably talk about that on her report, so I don't want to go too much into it, except to say that we made the decision, I think the night before, we should activate a shelter because of what we're hearing, if this storm comes to landfall in Milford or whatever, very close to it, we wanted to get a shelter open so that people would have a place to go. And CERT was able to get, I think, 10 or 20 members to take. And
the alternate shelter too.
yes, and it was at the alternate shelter because our normal shelter, the generator was out of service. So we did have plans, and we've done drills at the alternate shelter, which is at Ward High School, as opposed to Ludlow High School. And they hit the ground running, and we put pictures on our website of them unloading all their equipment early in the morning the day the shelter opened. So you can look on the fire department website. But I'd just like to say once again that CERT comes through in a clutch, and they're always, they never say no. Let's see. Facilities, the chief mentioned all the facility things that I was going to mention in his report. And that ends my report. If you have any questions?
Great. One suggestion.
Yes.
Okay.
This one, I'm sorry, that's what I meant, was the Facebook site.
Okay.
The website is not easy to post.
Yeah.
We're working on that. We're having a new vendor is mocking up a new website, and we'll be able to simultaneously post on both.
Okay.
Post on one or post on the other, so we're looking forward to that.
Any other questions? I have one, and it pertains to this weekend, and it's just a question of how it involved the department, whether it approached the police department, which is, I've at least seen rumors and various reporting of the Lantern Point and how many people with our perspective in terms of where we're involved or not.
As a matter of fact, we met and discussed that briefly today with the police department, and their ability to intervene, as long as there is not illegal behavior, it's just crowd size is limited. We didn't involve in other than visibility on it and understanding that there were a lot of crowds down there and some preparation on our part for that situation involved.
I don't believe Southport's on, Stratfield's on, local 1426.
I don't see them on.
Yeah, I didn't. So Norma, that means you're up next. And then Chief just unmuted you. You need to unmute yourself too locally.
Hello, can I be heard clearly?
Yes,
We can hear you.
Okay, great. For the CERT report, I guess I'll start with the half marathon because it's been a while since I reported. At that point in time, we had about 33 CERT folks who helped manage the parking at Jennings Beach for the half marathon, manned intersections throughout the course, maintained radio communications, and also advised about any incidents that arose. So that was a successful event for us, and everyone actually enjoyed it. We also participated in the rain date of July 5th for the 4th of July celebration. We had 12 CERT members doing that, helping with traffic. Let's see, we had 2 students who successfully completed the CERT virtual basic training because we still are not doing in person, and we're waiting for some state guidance on that, whether we can start doing that. And those students are in the process of being sworn in and having gear distributed. Let's see, our Fairfield CERT emergency communications group consisting of CERT ham operators meets most weeks virtually. And let's see, Deputy already mentioned on August 22nd, CERT opened a shelter, and by the afternoon it was determined it wasn't necessary, so it was closed, but we had 23 CERT members who volunteered to assist with that. And it did turn out to be a good refresher, and there were some lessons learned about the ward location. And I do want to mention that even though we didn't have many residents come, there is a certain amount of work involved in just getting things going and set up. So the CERT team was certainly on top of that. And then lastly, we have our annual meeting scheduled on September 16th and are planning to have a program on de-escalation techniques. And that's it.
Any questions for the CERT? Good. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Norma.
You're welcome.
Good. All great work as always. CERT. Old business. Alex has not made it up. Where he's down in DC. And for those of you who don't know, it was on CNN again this afternoon. She did a good job. The diversity and equity report that we had intended to review the written version has been delayed because the town attorney, before we had any writing, that we have HR and the labor lawyer do the drafts. And so that's in the process, and so we moved it to the October meeting. So please make sure it's on the agenda for the October. And by the way, I will not be here and not available to come in remotely. So,
Vacation time?
pardon?
Vacation time?
I mean,
Wow, look at this. Good for you. Enjoy it.
yeah,
Enjoy it.
it's a 2020 reunion that was postponed.
Enjoy it.
Thank you. Thank you. So, John, that would normally mean that you are acting chair for that meeting. If for some reason there's a problem, then you'll have to reach out to one of the other commissioners to chair the meeting. For some reason your schedule doesn't allow that. It should be pretty straightforward. With me out, you just also need to be called for the quorum. And everybody, please make sure they respond to Sheila about whether they're attending, so we know the quorum is last minute vote today. New business, anyone? Everybody good?
Good.
Okay, and we have nothing else to come before the commission. So I would take a motion for adjournment. Rob is making the motion. I need a second. Liam is making a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, no opposed? We're done. It is 7:40.